kutu, esitinga atanga klasi lolifa. Localité nanga ya bato isena kate ya komine ya bakutu. Mungala nanga ya tuapa ebalenga mimi amango na kokita. Na kominike mbeli mboka ya bise mwashiringa na bise toningana. Na kishasa libale komanga mopa mwasa matanzete ya manga. Ne kwatala peli bale koma probleme mwasa matanzete ya mungu ya nikofo. Etumba nzolele Nazani ni oye Nasepela kakobala mono kwa mboka nanga Ngana sepela kana bala nafika kamono kwa mboka nanga Balo bela serira ngana kima ekanga pona ye Balo bela roza munda ngana kima ekanga pona ye Eloko nini oyo ya bolingo ya ngana elero seko bondela kaboye Nale mbili bala ye Ngana le mbili bala ye Balia kingando na bona neba sepeli bienga bango bale nyama Mokolonga ndolia ka moto na se ama yoki mila kulela Epana bagongo balela na kigongo ba mama munu kiadio Lela na soile ba mama mina kufoe Toye ko lela na kingombe ba mama bina kuyo Okato la balo bina bokato le tumbango ya lo solie Batwa fe Ye mole mangai na kolela moti no kani Mimi amongo alelina kimongo etumbango ya so wa binanga Batetela balelina kitetela ba mama dimyambo fo Ona ko tetela ke mafumbe Mama dimyambo fo
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad at all. All right, so I'm gonna ask you some questions. We're gonna go through 4 sections of questions.
Okay.
Each one sort of designed to sort of get more out of why we're here.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna start with the first question. My first question is, what is migration to you, or what do you know about migration?
Migration. For me, migration is someone that moves from one country to another country, like from moving from home to come to a foreign country. So for me, that's migration.
Migration for me means moving from home to find a new home. Yeah.
Migration to me is a process where someone decides, I'm no longer happy here, I'm not well off here, I think I could be better over there. And they make the decision and actually take the step and go where they want to be.
To me, my understanding of migration is the movement of people from one place to another, to put it in simple terms.
Migration is a combination of things. So it's human nature for starters. You're thinking about the planet itself has migrated from one location, splitting into 7 continents. Humans are naturally adapted to that as well and done the same thing. They just move around. No one's really from where they are from. So it's just a human construct.
To me, it's moving from one place to another in the search for a better future or better education or better job, just improvement in general.
Migration for me is actually just moving from one place to the other. There might be a reason for it, there might be no reason to discover the world, to have a better life, but it's just moving from your comfort zone to a different place, a new place.
Migration for me is when an individual does not find in their respective country where they have hardship, either it's financial or either it's they're in danger, and then they need to move from that country to come to a country that will receive them, a country that makes them feel safe, a country that, where they can have financial gain, where they can work, Yeah, so that's what I think migration, basically a better life. That's what I think when I think of immigration and I think of a migrant. That's what I think.
Okay. As a diaspora, do you think it's time to go back home?
Very interesting. Yes and no. Yes, because what's happening, I'm from the Congo, I'm from the DRC. What's happening in Congo now is there's so much you can do, as I'm someone that go to the Congo regularly. There's so much markets, business-wise, that you can basically, how do I say this, attain, basically. There's so many businesses that you can start. In Kinshasa, especially in Kinshasa, and also like in the whole of Congo, basically. Our president, we've got a brand new president now who has different ideas and different ideologies, which is quite encouraging, but he's not there yet as it's just started, which is a bit shaky. But I think it's a good time to go. It's a good time to go. It's a good time to invest as well, I think. But the thing is, you need to have the capital, you see, if you want to go invest in Congo. No, the infrastructure is not really well set in Congo. And us lot who are brought up here, I think it's going to be a culture shock for a lot of people as well, you know, who are born here or who are brought up here. I also do think that in terms of living life, day-to-day living in Congo, it's going to be quite difficult for a lot of the people who are especially brought up here. For example, typical example, electricity, power cuts. You know, that's going to be that's going to be very, you know, it's not going to be good, really. You know, for example, if you're working there or you've got a business there and then there's a power cut, there's nothing that you can do, you have to wait. And then also the way people think there as well. We're very quick, we're very fast, you know, when it comes to, okay, I want to do this and this is the time that you need to come, you know. Little things like that, you know, they're very slow there as well. I think there needs to be an education of how to be professional, you know, when it comes to work settings as well. And they're not very professional, I'm afraid. You know, you want to organize a meeting at 6 o'clock, they will turn up at 10 o'clock, you know, and it's an ideology that needs to be changed, you know. And yeah, so there's a lot of barriers, but I have known people who have gone back and who have basically overcome those barriers, but it takes a while to overcome it, and you know, and you will get frustrated as well, you know. Yeah, but
I think I wouldn't say as a diaspora, that depends on you as an individual. How do you feel and how ready are you to go back home? Like, is the situation back home okay for you to move back home? Because you don't want to move back home and then find yourself in a situation where you're not able to. Because before going back, for me personally, before going back home, I feel like I have to make sure the country has evaluated and the country there's things have changed in the country, and I feel like comfortable and safe to be. Obviously, there's nowhere to be safe anyway, but I feel like home is safe, and that's for me. If you as an individual, you're ready to go back home, then that's a choice for you to make.
You know what, as a diaspora who has been in a foreign country for many, many years, you have changed your way of thinking. You have amended, adapted to the way, I say British way, you have adapted to the British way. So now if you think of moving back, you will be moving back with a different set of mind. And you will start judging those people according to where you come from. You'll be like, yeah, but we never used to do that. I mean, back in London, in UK, they don't do that. So how can you move back? You need to learn their way, and then you need to combine it. You need to mix it together. So moving back now, going, visiting, getting to know them, and coming back, yes.
I think as a diaspora, yes. I say yes. But as an individual, that really depends on your own journey and where you are in life and what is drawing you to which direction. Something is going to take you to a certain direction. So that's on you to kind of figure out. As a people, I think it's something we definitely need to always have at the back of our minds, that we come from somewhere. Why did we leave the somewhere? And then what's the next story after now?
I don't think there is a specific time when people should decide to go back or not to go. It's an individual decision where you feel ready enough. And I think for us or for us as human beings, it tends to depend on the current situation and aspiration or the situation in where we are aspiring to go.
As a diaspora for me now, yeah, it is time to go back. I think we've invested the last 1,000 centuries in developing Europe, whether it be directly or forcefully or indirectly. We've done that. We've done it very, very well. Every inch of Europe, including Great Britain that we're on, has been created physically by labor that came predominantly from Africa, by resources that came predominantly from Africa. So I think it's time for Africans to put that effort back to their own land.
Not for me. No, I'm not ready.
You're not ready?
No.
What about everybody else?
For everybody else, that's an individual decision to make. It's not just because people decide to go back, doesn't mean it's right for you to go back as well. It's timing. So if you feel like you're comfortable moving back and you're ready, then go. But I'm not ready.
Do you think we can go back?
Yes, why not?
Time to go back home is always time to go back home. It's like I leave my house today to come here. Now, at any point from the moment that I left the house to come here, I can decide to return. There's not a specific time unless a time I set for myself to go home. So, is it now time for the diaspora to get home? I think any time is a good time to go home. But the question we must also think about is that, yes, we're gonna go back home now, let's say, but what are we going home for?
Okay, elaborate for me.
Are we going home on a holiday trip? Are we going home to do some work there? Are we going home to help our nations to advance forward? Are we going home to heal? Are we going home to share what we have with others and let others also share what they have with us so that collectively we might build together and go forward?
Do Congolese people have a white obsession? By that I mean we blame white people for all our problems and yet we run to them with our problems.
Yes.
Do you want to expand a little bit?
I don't know if back in the days, our ancestors used to think, I think back in the days our ancestors used to think that, oh, who are these people who look different like us? And, they didn't like it. And then after a while, they just start liking them because they look different, they behave different. And then they start adapting so much. A Congolese person, when I went to Congo, they said, I went to this museum and they said, Congolese people are like lizards. Wherever they go, they adapt. Whatever comes to them, they adapt and they become like that, they're integrated. And we like to blame others, or Congolese, I say we, because I'm part of them. We like to blame others to make ourselves feel good. So, and when we feel good, we want to be like them because it's like, we don't see their mistakes. We cover it up.
I don't know if it's obsession, but I would call it a dependency to some extent, because of historical events. I think we've naturally looked at the whole idea. We're victims of looking at the white savior, I would say, just like in most other African countries. We depend on the outside world to help us to be validated to some extent. So yeah, I think we do kind of look at white people in that way subconsciously, and it does come down to being conscious of it and then wanting to unlearn some of those natural attachments to white supremacy to some extent. You know, like something that looks good, you assume that it's a white thing rather than it's just a good thing and anyone can do it. So I think at the back of our minds, especially with in our context in Lingala, it's like Eloka Mundele seems to be something that's better or works well in comparison to us. So to that extent, yeah, I wouldn't want to call it an obsession though, more so a dependency.
We definitely have something with white people, because to us when we think about white people, one of the first things that pop up in our mind is history, the colonial past, what has happened in the past, as well as what is our relation with them now. So us running to them, I think we cannot put that in a general form. Every person got their own way of viewing that very same situation based on what they experienced with white or let's say European have been so far. Yes, there's some history there that need a form of dealing with, let's say.
What kind of problems do we run to them for?
Well, we come over here
Yeah.
when our country's in downfall. That's one example.
I don't think we blame them, but obviously they colonized us. Before they came into our land, we were fine. We were not moving from one place to another. But the fact that they came, they already opened that door that it's okay to move from one place to another. They came to our country for diamond, gold, whatever. Why can't we move for better education? As long as you can afford to move, you can move. It's a free country, it's a free world. You're free to move. It's human right.
Yes, we do. I've seen it in the Congo, I've seen it in Kinshasa. Yes, we do. We think white is right, which is not. You know, we think that, you know, the white culture, Mundele culture, you know, it's superior to our culture, to the African culture. I also, and I do think it's quite sad because we have a rich culture in Congo, and I do think it's really, you know, it's quite sad the way Congolese are put, you know, the white organization or even the you know, the white institution, the white man, right? They put it before themselves and they think that the white man is more intelligent than them, you know, which is completely wrong. You know, it's just that Europeans have more access, you know, to further whatever it is they want to further. That's my personal view. And I think in Congo, we don't really have that much access, you know, and hence the reason why we're very limited. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we're honest with ourselves, and we've got to be really, really honest, we definitely do have a white obsession. It's not so much that we blame everything to them, but we look up to them. They're almost like we are looking for their validation for some reason, like almost like we need it. And to me, it's always been like, I didn't really understand it because I never really grew up with that mindset until I kind of came into this, into Europe. So I don't understand why I need to get validation from people who had to enslave you in order to make you do what they wanted you to do, or even try and look like them, because I've always grown up with the concept that I look good, you know, and my skin was great, so.
Again, I think it depends on a lot of things. You will always find people who reason like that. A white man is the reason for all why they are such a failure. Why Africa is where it is today. Why Europe is so beautiful and this and that. Yes, a lot happened in the past, which caused Africa to be where it is. We cannot deny that. But I think now we can come to terms with that. We have so many African intellectuals today to change that. Today, I can't agree I can only agree to a certain level to that statement. Because unless I'm mistaken, up to today, the white, I find it difficult to say it like that, but white,
You can say European.
Europeans are constantly trying to permanently what's the word? Not belittle, but it goes under that, tarnish us, patronize blacks, things like that. But there again, we can say, why don't we do the same? We can do the same to them. Why are we in the receiving end? Why are we paying attention to it? Why are we so small-minded? It depends on individuals. It depends on choices. Like I said earlier, we have so many intellectuals in Africa today. And I know it goes with African politics, who are not quite paving the way for their citizens to, not making things so easy as well, even for those intellectuals. But it will have to be our own willingness to change those. Say today, I say to you, Charlene, you're so dark. You can say back to me, oh, well, Mama Bet, you're so white. So what? It's only a matter of color. Why do we have to take it because we called black? We take it as an insult. Why don't they take it an insult when we call them white? It's us, I think, also we need to change our mentality as well.
I do feel, yes, we do, because I feel like we are allowed the white people to come to our country to use us. And we don't use, I don't think we are white, we use our intelligence to actually understand these people actually use us, because without us, our country, I'm Congolese, without us, white people wouldn't have half of the things that they have, because most of the things that they have comes from our country. Cotton, all those things that they use, technology is from our country, but then we blame the white people for using us. But it's our fault, it's our own intel. We need to be smart enough, knowing that these people are using us. How about Congo? Because Congo is one of the richest countries in the world. How can you, Congo, be one of the richest countries and yet still one of the poorest countries? Because we allow these people to come into our country to steal what we have, and we run to this country and we still face certain things that we feel like if we wasn't smart enough to be back home, we wouldn't be suffering like this.
Okay. Would you class yourself as a migrant, an immigrant, or an illegal alien?
Immigrant.
Why?
Because I feel like, for me, I moved back home to come and live here permanently. So when I moved, I had no intention of going back home to leave. So I feel like I moved there to live here. Although I would go back home, but I wouldn't be like I would live there permanently, maybe because of how I've grown up here. But I still feel like I'll still go back home to build things in Congo and to make Congo one great country.
I am... I don't class myself as any of that, because I am the population of Earth. just like the cockroach is a population of Earth, the antelope, the lion, I'm a population of Earth. So I belong to Earth. If I go to London, I belong to Earth. If I go to Congo, I belong to Earth. I was born in Congo, they're from Congolese, but I belong to Earth.
Alien. None of those. I just class myself as a human being, just want to move to places.
Illegal alien.
It's an old term for migrants that I know.
Or stranger.
It's another old stranger, yeah.
I'm a migrant.
I don't know what the differences are per se, but I would say immigrant based on my family history, or more so refugee, really. Not sure how those three kind of work technically, if I was to be honest, but refugee is an identity that I remember feeling like it was just who we were ever since I can remember, so yeah.
I come from somewhere and I moved to a few places. Now, those terms, migrant, immigrant, to me, they're just words to try to define certain concepts. Yes, if I've been through the migration process, yes, because I moved from A to B. In that sense, yes.
I dislike the word illegal alien because alien looks like something that shouldn't be in the place where it is. When I went to China, there's a boarding card that says alien shouldn't work in China. So when I saw that, I was like, who is the alien? And I looked at myself, I am not an alien. I'm not from a different world. We are all from the same world, so illegal alien, never. I think I would say I'm an immigrant because I'm an immigrant and a migrant. And what was the other one?
Immigrant, migrant, illegal alien.
I'm a,
Not an illegal alien.
yeah, okay. I'm an immigrant because when I grew up in Germany, I grew up still knowing that I'm different than them. And I still had to adapt to their ways. I still had to learn their language. I still had to kind of integrate it into their culture. So that makes me an immigrant. And my mom made sure that I knew that I was different, so I had to behave, to outshine everyone else. So that's the reason why I'm an immigrant, because I still had to adapt. And I'm a migrant to the UK because I made the decision from myself to move, to leave my comfort zone, to leave Germany and come to the UK.
I don't see myself as a migrant. I don't see myself as any of that. I just see myself as a citizen of the world. That's what I see myself as. I don't, yes, I did come here at, young age. And when I came here, I couldn't speak English at all, So I think at that time, I felt like, a migrant. And it has changed, weirdly enough. It has changed throughout the years, me being here and also traveling a lot as well. And I just think I'm a citizen of the world. And, I've seen, I'm always going to Congo, but I've seen different aspects of human behavior and human life. And I just think we are all the same. We just speak different languages and we're just in different countries, but we all want the same things and we are all the same. So I don't consider myself as a migrant, to be honest. Maybe someone else, maybe when they look at me, they might think like I'm a migrant, but I don't really know.
Are Congolese included fairly in British rules?
No. No. I don't think I don't know a lot about British laws. I know a little bit about German laws, but no, I don't think it was written for Congolese. I don't think it was written for the black people. It was written for those who were here when it was written, and I don't believe there was a lot of black people in the UK in these days. I don't even think that Irish people are included in it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're British, you're British. So the law should apply to you.
How can you be? How can you be included in? If that we was included into the British system, whatever, why are we here suffering? Because we're still here working like slaves when they're taking things from us. We are here working when people in our country are suffering. So how are we included? How are we treated fairly?
Interesting.
No. They know.
Would you expand?
Okay. The first thing that will come to my mind in regards to that question is that did they make those laws for Congolese people specifically? If they did and the laws designed or made do not fit the Congolese people, that's one thing. But at the end of the day, those laws are made primarily to suit and accommodate the owners of the land first. And the Congolese people come to fit in there secondary. They're not the main focus. It's like saying they made the laws and hopefully the Congolese might find something for them in the mix. But the makers of the law and their people will always have their part served first.
As in like black people or just Congolese because we come from Congo?
Either or.
I think everyone is included. I'm more open-minded. I take things as they come. I don't see race playing a part on the rules or the regulations of a particular country. As long as human right is there, as long as we're respecting each other's needs, equality, you're allowed to finish your work and get the job that you deserve based on your qualification, not your race, then that's fine.
I think we're non-existent in the British law. I think Congolese, we're nowhere near. We're nowhere near the British law, the British constitution. I don't think even Africans are, full stop. You know? No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I think we're not included in anything. Even, we're lacking in parliament. There's no MPs in parliament, because, I go to parliament and there's no one there. Oh, you're from Congo? Oh, okay. There's no one there. There's no one in major institutions, Congolese, no. But I do see a couple of Nigerians, Ghanaians, which is really important. I think it's really important to have a representation of a Congolese person in politics in this country. I think it will be. I don't know if it will make it easier, but I think they will kind of have a bit more respect for us, and they will consider our issues that's happening in the Congo. Yeah, they will be more considerate. But because we don't have a face in Parliament, hence the reason why we are forgotten, that's it.
Congolese cannot be included fairly in any law if the system around the world was created by Europeans. So if you look at even the system in Congo was created by Europeans, so it's just not going to be fair until you deconstruct that. The law here in England was never and will never be created since races have been coming in. The first races, the Asians, that were invited here, the laws, they had to fight for their laws, pay lobbying for the laws to be changed, and those laws ain't even many, for them to advance. In order for Africans to get anything like that, you would have to do what they did, lobbying people to get in there and force laws to be changed. But why force laws in a continent that doesn't like you in the first place when you can just go and do your own thing on your own and change and focus the effort there? So no, the laws are not for us. They were never for us. But it's not something that we need to sort of dwell on, because we can go and change it for our own continent and fix that, so we can then be just like Europe with our own land mass. Do you think the average English person is racist to migrants, knowingly or unknowingly?
So many are racist knowingly. I would say that. Personally, I've been a victim of that so many times, but I have a mindset of looking at that person. For me, when you're being racist to me, I pity you. Because to me, you don't understand. First of all, you don't understand historical fact. You're not intelligent. Your mind is very small for you to understand that there's no black, there's no white, there's no red. We're all one race, first of all. We are all human beings, yeah? And then also, the fact that history tells us that we were once all black, it is just an evolutionary factor that made some become white. So having that in mind, why would I then think I'm superior to you because you're white? Or you are superior to me because I'm black? I don't get it.
Knowingly and unknowingly, you know. Oh yeah, oh my goodness. I have situations where, you know, I met a person, and as soon as they saw my surname, Kalanga, said, "Where are you from?" I said, I'm from Congo. And he was like, "Oh, but you're British." I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah, but the way you speak, you're one of us. You're not like the Nigerian. And he pointed at a Nigerian who literally just came in, who had the African accent. And then I looked at him and I said, but do you know I was a refugee? I couldn't speak a word of English when I came here in the 90s, you know? So I am her 20 years back. And he just looked at me and he was like, oh, wow. I said, yeah. You know, and I think it's wrong, the way you are, you know. So it was kind of racist, but I don't know if he knew that he was racist. But, you know, I had to, and then, subconscious. Yeah, subconscious. And then when I did present to him the way that I did, and he was like, oh, you're right. I said, yeah, you're speaking to someone who was an immigrant. You're speaking to someone who was a refugee, who came here at a very young age, you know. I'm speaking like you're speaking. When I'm speaking, you can identify with me because of the accent, of course, because of the British accent, because of my mannerism, you know, because we have so much in common as a British person here, because obviously I've adapted to the culture, you know, and I've integrated, but my history, I'm a migrant to your eyes, to society's eyes, I'm a migrant, you know, because I come from a different country.
You know what, when it comes to England, I think they're not really racist, they're more discriminative. And I'm saying it because I come from Germany. So I see racism, I know racism, I can feel racism. And you can feel it sometimes or certain place when you're in Germany, but when you come to England, maybe they're doing a cover, it's a makeup, you know, they will embrace you. But then, once they have embraced you, maybe in a job or in a company, then they will just put borders. You know, they would limit you. They will not give you the full opportunity. You know, so they would then start discriminating you. So I don't believe, and even wherever you live or wherever you go, they will put this fake, you're right, love, this fakeness in them, where they will not show you that they're racist, but they will show you that you will feel discriminated still somehow. Yes, so I wouldn't really call them English people racist. I would call them more discriminative.
Okay.
I've never experienced any sort of racism, but it's individually as well. If someone wants to be racist to you, it doesn't mean they have to be the whole group of people doing it. It's individually.
I think looking back now, primary school, secondary school. I think especially at a place where now I'm very conscious of some of the discrimination or racism, subtle racism, because I somehow have this assumption in my mind that there is a certain level of racism in Britain, but it's very subtle. And because American culture gets projected to us, you assume that you're just in connection to Black struggles in America, and really it's something that you're living through every day in the UK. It's just very subtle. I feel like British culture is very, you can be quite sarcastic or just not to the point. No one wants to call it out. So you become subtle about it, and then subtle about pointing it out as well.
I do think we face the racist. I do feel like us, Black people, living in a white people country, we face racism. And sometimes, I think it's not that they don't know. I feel like they do know, but they just act like they're not conscious, or they act like they don't know this is racist. Us as self-Black people, sometimes we know our people are being racist to us, but we act like, oh no, it's not racist. What do you call racist though? Because there's certain things white people, the way white people talk, the way certain things a white person will say, it is actually racist to a Black person. But us, because I would say some of us are ignorant.
I think they're both. The average English person, who would start with the ones that are actually racist. The average English person who is actually racist, England is one of the best racist countries when it comes to racism. Because what people have yet to understand, especially Black people, is that racism has moved from physical racism to systemic racism. So now they hide behind what they call discrimination or ignorance or lack of knowledge, whatever it is, the spin words. So it's become more smart because, remember, they created racism, so therefore they can recreate it, and which is exactly what they've done again. So where it was physical and everyone can see, now they've realized, because we own the systems, we've created the systems, we can hide behind the systems, and we can paint it as though we're not racist, but actually, really, we are. Case in point, the prison systems in almost every European country where there's Black people holds 80%, Black people than it does the native that are, the highest population. Yeah, and the unknowing racist side there's two of them. There's the ones that are genuine, and I've had the pleasure of working with some. I say the pleasure because I've corrected some people, in my employments within the years. Just for example, simple words like using the word colored. As soon as you've corrected them, they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize that made you feel that way. And straight away they make a change, because that's when it's genuine ignorance. But then you have the ignorance that plead ignorance. They play onto it, But then you hear things that comes out of their mouth, and then you think, oh, so you've been playing on it all along. And they're the ones that would have a mixed race child or a Black partner, or and then think, oh well, I can't possibly be racist because, well, I have a partner or I have a child that is of a different race or a mixed race.
The average person. I would say, based on my experiences, there's racist people. There's people that don't know or understand, people that seem different to them. You can find a bit of both of those two categories I just described.
Since being here, have Congolese done enough to take advantage of the perks they have in the UK, i.e. building education, industry, jobs, healthcare, support and finance for their people as, say, Japanese community, Jewish community, or South Asians?
I think we all have different struggles coming in to the country. And as a Congolese from a Congolese background, I can't speak for every Congolese family and every Congolese person coming in, but we're a Francophone nation, Francophone, colonized trying to adapt to a British or an Anglophone system, I feel like that would have had some level of, you know, disadvantages to the people settling in. But in saying that, I mean, certain things that our parents kind of took advantage of, whether it was, you know, the government sort of programs that was there for them. I feel like they tried their best to like utilize those. Education, there's a lot of parents and a lot of young people that, you know, went into the education system. So, but can more be done? Yes. I'll be curious to know how many parents have bought homes, for instance, or how many people were able to like own properties and own businesses. I want to know how far we went as a community in terms of migration to that level, but I can't make assumptions up, if that makes sense.
This one is it's a bit of I'm more empathetic of the fact, as much as I blame Congolese for not doing it, they haven't created any of those things at all, whether it be education or infrastructure or infrastructure or anything. They've got businesses, but they rent primarily. The money always never circulates more than 1% of the time within their community, wherever they are. But that's also because when most of us left, if not all of us left our native countries, we came in a desperate situation. So there was never a plan in place to inhabit, intervene or integrate into a system. It was always a plan of, well, we're gonna stay here until the war ends, but then, you know, suddenly you wake up, it's 30 years later, and then you realize, oh, we've been waiting for the war to end, but we should have really done something. So there is that sense of complacency. But within that complacency as well, there is the disconnect between the communities as to what it is that is a priority. But again, I have to say, I have to empathize, because if you're coming from colonialism, slavery, which for us was probably the harshest, probably only second to South Africa, you have been constructed after being deconstructed from your own heritage to now only know about waiting to be given, waiting to be told when, waiting to be told how, waiting to be led. So all you will ever do is sit there and wait, well, he's gonna do it, she's gonna do it, well, that leader should do it. And you never really move because you're still pretty much enslaved mentally.
No, I'll say no, because language barriers and education, we don't really seek to know. We just settle for what is already there. But then when it comes to Indian, Chinese, they put on the work, the research. It's like they learn the system so that way they can maneuver easily within that country. But we don't, we just come in, we don't know the language, so we go for the basic stuff, the basic job, everything's basic.
That's a very interesting question. I have done a work recently on that. No, we haven't. Congolese people haven't. We have found it difficult to integrate within the British society. And that is often to do with the fact, with the linguistic fact and cultural as well. Because you know, when Congolese were colonized by Belgium, whether we like it or not, whether it's today a negative connotation to mention that, or it's a fact, it happened. We were colonized by the Belgians. Belgians are closer to French. We spoke French. So coming to UK, the Brits have different mentality altogether. The French and the Belgians also are different. They might be all Caucasians, but really different societies we're talking about here. So while you go to Belgium or France, you will find Congolese who see things, who do things differently, who were actually able to abide with the society there and do great things. We here, we had to come here, first of all, at certain age, 40s, I came here, I was much younger, but for most, I would say, parents who came here, they were probably in their 40s, some maybe 50s, maybe late 30s. Immediately they arrived here, they embarked in, perhaps if you are a father, you turn up in UK alone. Now you're thinking of your wife and children you've left in Congo. You now have to start in the approach to unite with them, basically bring them. And for you to do that, you have to be working day and night. Because remember, you might have left a wife and 4 or 5 kids. While the government here might give you papers, they won't pay their tickets for you to bring them over. It's all on you. So you'll find so many parents did not have time to even go and do those simple ESOL courses. The English they learned was perhaps through the children, because children through the shopping process, through watching TV. Maybe later they decide, okay, let me do a course. But it's quite different from our brothers and sisters in Belgium and France. So by the time now they realize, maybe I want to do something, they're probably late 50s, maybe early 60s, in the eve of basically they're about to maybe retire. So we didn't do much. We have not done much yet as a community in the UK, no.
I would say no. I don't believe that Congolese have taken full advantage of whatever UK is offering them. And that's the reason for me saying no, is because I believe that the Congolese people leaving, when they left Congo, they didn't just leave Congo, but they left Congolese people. I mean, they left everyone behind and said, okay, I'm gonna start new on my own. And what they've done is more adapting to the European way and trying to throw away or just put aside their Congolese way, you know. So they haven't adapted, they just adapted to certain things, but they haven't explored everything that there was there to offer, you know. And again, it's this lizard thing, you know, where a lizard goes on something that's red and it becomes red, but it doesn't become the stone. It doesn't utilize the whole space, or if it goes into the shadow, it would just, you know, make itself comfortable enough for it not to be burned by the sun or something like that. And I think this is really the best way for us to see ourselves, you know, Congolese people are sometimes chameleon, exactly. You know, they adapt.
No, I don't think so. Because if we have, even though I know that if we had, some of the things that happen in Congo wouldn't be happening right now. So I just feel like as Congolese people, we actually need to stand up together and be united and work together to build the Congo, which is a great country, instead of coming here and actually being used to actually work as slave and then back home. Because what are we doing? Because our kids are still on the roads in Congo. If we really came in and take advantage of what the system gives us, why are we not making Congo to be one of the great countries? Why are Congo still not the way Congo is?
I don't think Congolese have taken full advantage of what's happening here. Full advantage, because there are so many opportunities here. They have, it's not even, I would say not even 30%, to be really honest. I think Congolese, they are very much in their own bubble. They are very much in their own community. I think Congolese need to venture out a bit more, you know. I see the Asians are, you know, when it comes to business, when it comes to education, they are really out there, you know. And I think Congolese, that we really need to really make an effort. I think it's probably going to be us who are going to be the ones who are going to teach our children to really go out there and really, there's so much potential in this country, and there's so many opportunities to really go out there and really grab it, you know. Education here is free. Even going to university, they give you a loan. You have no excuse, absolutely no excuse. Congolese people, you have no excuse. I know I'm getting a bit emotional about this, but you have absolutely no excuse Not even one, nada. You know, education is for if you want to go to university and study. They give you a loan. Even if you've got kids, they will even give you money to look after your kids. For goodness sake. Use every opportunity. They don't use every opportunity that there is. Even to start a business, you can get a loan to start a business in this country. There's so much training that you can do, you know. That's all I'm going to say, because I really, you know, instead of you just sitting at home doing nothing, instead of you just sitting at home and watching my bookie, you know, instead of you just, you know, spending your whole day drinking, you know, and talking absolute nonsense on social media. There's so much more you can do, you know. There's books to read, even if you don't want to go to university. There's books you can, self-education, you can educate yourself, you know. It's just, it drives me nuts, drives me crazy, bloody crazy.